At the end of the Reeperbahn is Beatles-Platz, a public space dedicated to the band who had residency in nearby clubs between 1960 to 1962. Beatles-Platz includes a memorial showing the silhouettes of John, Paul and George, whilst the drummer represents both Ringo and the first Beatles drummer, Pete Best, both of whom played in the early days of Hamburg. Poignantly, there is also an extra silhouette standing alone just a few yards away. The lone figure is of the Beatles' original bassist, Stuart Sutcliffe. It was Stuart who, whilst in Hamburg, was daring enough to go against rock and roll fashion by being the first to ditch the Brill cream and instead have his German girlfriend, photographer Astrid Kirchherr, style his hair into the mop top. Lennon is said to have collapsed laughing on seeing the haircut, and it took several months before John, Paul and George, but notably not Pete, followed suit. In 1961, having got engaged and accepted into Hamburg Art School, Stuart announced to the other Beatles, "I'm out of the band, lads. I'm going to stay in Hamburg with Astrid." 1 year later, he tragically died in Hamburg of a brain hemorrhage, a delayed consequence from a fight in Liverpool whilst being a member of the Beatles. As we enter Grosse Freiheit, the Reeperbahn's liveliest area, we pass the Beatles' old stomping grounds, all within a few minutes' walk of each other. Located towards the back of the street is the Beatles' first residency at the Indra, where they were each paid £2.50 per night, playing 7-hour sets, 7 nights a week, and taken stimulant drugs to keep them awake as the German nightclub owner would repeatedly bark, "Mach schau," meaning make a show. Coming back towards the corner of the main stretch, the second Beatles club is the Kaiserkeller, where after John is missing on stage due to more amorous matters with a lady friend, he finally runs on and plays in just his pants and a toilet seat around his neck. Also during this time, Stuart's girlfriend Astrid becomes the unofficial Beatles photographer. Returning back onto the Reeperbahn outside the subway station, the Beatles' third club is the Top 10, where Stuart leaves the band and Paul reluctantly takes over bass duties with his new Hamburg-bought Hofner violin bass. The new four-piece also make their first ever recording in Hamburg. Although it was as a backing band, it would be this record that catches the attention of future manager Brian Epstein. And lastly, back onto Grosse Freiheit is the Star Club, where Pete Best is fired due to a combination of his aloofness and drumming ability, and is replaced by old friend of the Beatles, Ringo. Looking back on its importance, Lennon said, "We had to play for hours and hours on end. Every song lasted 20 minutes and had 20 solos in it. That's what improved our playing," adding, "I might have been born in Liverpool, but I grew up in Hamburg." With its abundance in sex, drugs and rock and roll, it was the Reeperbahn which toughened and tightened the teenage Beatles in preparation for the world to come.